Donald Trump might have escaped legal accountability for trying to overturn the 2020 election, you can't say the same about his employees. His former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, he still faces state charges for the coup plot. Donald Trump's lawyers have had to hire lawyers, and those around him often get slapped with subpoenas. NBC News reports, quote, in a cautionary move, Trump's transition has briefed some incoming administration staff members on the need to buy professional liability insurance. That's according to two people familiar with the warnings. Joining us now is a former Trump official, former Trump White House Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Matthews.
Sarah, welcome. The fact that you come into a job and they tell you, you better get yourself some liability insurance. You may need a lawyer later on, tells you all about the work that you're going to be engaged in with the team you're going to be engaged in that work with. What is your assessment as you've watched, for example, and I refer to them as the menagerie of misfits, the folks who've been paraded in front of the country with more to come, Kash Patel, for example, for these positions in the administration. Give us a little bit of what you think that's going on here, that people should know why these folks are in these roles, and particularly what Donald Trump expects of them. Because my sense is he's the guy who wants to be able to call Secretary so-and-so or someone even below, down further in the bowels of the administration, pick up the phone and say, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I think I'll give credit where credit is due. There have been a couple good cabinet picks. I said a couple, though. I think when you look at the vast majority of them, I think that they were picked based on one thing only, and that is loyalty to Donald Trump. I feel like some of these people, like a Kash Patel or a Pam Bondi, these are folks who are going to be loyal to Donald Trump, and I worry about their ability to uphold the Constitution and their ability to push back on Donald Trump. I mean, we saw even in Pam Bondi's hearings, she said that they wouldn't go after political prosecutions, but then she didn't rule out certain people that they would go after. And so it does concern me about some of these people that are going to be in these roles, because I do think while the Senate has a duty to advise and consent, it appears like a lot of these senators who I was banking on, hoping that they would push back on some of these unqualified nominees, that they are probably going to get by. I really think that almost all of them are probably going to be confirmed now.
And we, just so you know, Sarah, we had Senator Kirsten Gillibrand on with us earlier, and she said much the same. You name-checked Pam Bondi and one exchange that she had during her hearing. I want you to take a listen to another exchange, and this is about the results of the 2020 election.
Who won the 2020 presidential election?
Joe Biden is the president of the United States. Do I accept the results? Of course I do. Do I agree with what happened? And I saw so much, no one from either side of the aisle should want there to be any issues with election integrity in our country. There was a peaceful transition of power. President Trump left office and was overwhelmingly elected in 2024.
There was not a peaceful transfer of power. Literally January 6th, okay? And then he didn't even attend the inauguration last time. I just wanted to point that out.
Well, nor was he overwhelmingly elected, because he got
didn't get 50%, I will say that.
Didn't get 50%, yeah.
As you know, Sarah, Simone, Michael, folks are prepped for these hearings, right? I mean, that is part of it. Democrats, Republicans, doesn't matter. You sort of anticipate the questions that are going to be asked of you, especially the stickiest questions that are going to be asked of you. There's no way that the people who prepped her did not anticipate that this was going to come up. That was a carefully crafted answer to both not say the thing that she was saying, which was, I do believe that there were issues with this election, and I don't believe that Joe Biden won this election. It was all in the subtext. Help explain, Sarah, why that matters, right? What the stakes are for having someone lead the Department of Justice who's still relitigating the 2020 election.
Yeah, I mean, full stop. If you're not able to say that the election was free and fair and it was not stolen in 2020, then you don't deserve to have a cabinet position, in my view. But obviously, this is what she needs to say because she's catering to an audience of one, which is Donald Trump. She knows that this is what she needs to say in order to secure her position to be in his cabinet. And so she can't say what we all know to be true, which is that there is zero evidence of fraud, that Joe Biden won fair and square, and that there wasn't a peaceful transfer of power because, as you guys noted, 140 police officers were brutally attacked on January 6th, and there was only a peaceful transfer of power, I guess, after that, if you can call that peaceful. But yes, he didn't even attend Joe Biden's inauguration, which you guys noted as well, which I think is really striking considering there was so much pushback from the far right about Michelle Obama not attending the inauguration. But I find that just very ironic then that they weren't up in arms then when Donald Trump and Melania Trump did not attend Joe Biden's inauguration. So I think that this shows, though, what he demands of these folks that he is going to put in positions of power, which is that they are going to push his agenda at all costs and never push back on him.
Sarah, and, you know, let me know if you don't want to answer this, but I think we're on TV, so we're going to ask. You know, you have been outspoken about what you have experienced, your experience working within the Trump orbit in the first administration, you've been outspoken about this moment for Republicans during the campaign, and you have not backed down since Donald Trump's reelection. I have to wonder, are you concerned that on this list that's not actually written down, but it is a verbal and a proverbial list, that you are on it and that you should be doing things to gird yourself because the retribution that the president's allies and potential staff and potential department heads, right, have talked about is very real?
No, it definitely is a very real concern. Obviously, I knew when I resigned on January 6th and then when I went to testify before the January 6th committee that this was a risk I was taking, I was putting a target on my back and that Donald Trump could come after me if he were to be put back in power. And so now, obviously, that is a really very real scenario that I might be facing. But at the end of the day, I knew that my fears about any retribution that I might face, I think my guilt would have far outweighed that if I hadn't come forward and told the American people the truth and I hadn't spoken up. And so I feel very comfortable with my position that I made the right call. I know that even if it didn't pan out the way I wanted, that I think history will look upon what I did favorably and those of my colleagues who also have spoken out. And I'll continue to speak out and hold his administration accountable moving forward. I know that they want to silence folks like myself and they want to try to scare us, but I'm not going to back down for any fears of that because I know that I'm telling the truth and I have nothing to hide. I know I haven't done anything wrong. And so if they wanted to come after me, then that's something that they could do. But I do think that his administration would be best served to focus on the things that they were elected on. So people put him back into power because they were concerned about things like the cost of groceries, the state of the world, things like that. And so if he wants to be successful, his administration should focus on those things and not going after his quote unquote political enemies. But it remains to be seen how that will all pan out. Obviously, I really look forward to hearing the Kash Patel confirmation hearings and more on that, but we will see.
In fact, just real quick, Simone, I know we're going to break. It will also say a lot about us, U.S., American citizens, if someone like Sarah comes under retribution or receives retribution because she used her voice to tell the truth, her truth in the moment, in the job that she was in. So, we as citizens should be looking at this very closely as well.
Again, Sarah continues to have more courage than many of the men that she worked for.
All of the men.
Sarah Matthews.
Thank you.
Thank you.